From Oshkosh Community Media Services, this is Oshkosh City Cable 10 and broadcast on 101.9 FM WOCT Oshkosh. Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report is your preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda and an update from your Oshkosh City Manager. Your hosts, Emily Mikowski of Oshkosh Community Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on your City Manager's Report, your source for all of the latest and greatest topics here in your city, as well as a preview of the upcoming City Council meeting agenda for this coming meeting, Tuesday, August 25th, 2015. I'm your host, Emily Mikowski, joined as always by your City Manager, Mark Roloff. So Mark, thanks as always for joining us today.
Great to be here, Emily.
So we're going to go ahead and get it right into our hot topics for the first half of today's show. We'll take a little break and then we'll return with a review of the council meeting agenda for Tuesday the 25th. So, Mark, first thing that we want to talk about is some weekend activities. Now, it was a very busy weekend last weekend downtown Oshkosh. One of the big things that was happening was the Gus Macker basketball tournament.
Oh, tons of things going on. Gus Macker was sort of a center point of a lot of things going on. It's a great way to bring people in from out of town to do some 3-on-3 street basketball. You get in a lot of areas of the country, but what's great is it's right here on Main Street. You get people coming in and just sort of showing off whatever skills they have, although with some of the footage, you're not going to see the greatest basketball skills. This is not NBA material, but it's certainly a lot of fun and a lot of good fun to bring to the area. Community people come down and just take a look at the different games. Maybe they have a friend play, maybe they're just there to entertain themselves with just taking in a few basketball games. Yeah,
it's a really fun Saturday morning here in downtown Oshkosh. And we were talking before the show started how our cameraman was there before the sun hit the street. So it was a pretty warm day that day. So we got to give those guys credit for getting out there and playing some
I think I would have preferred playing in the shade like these guys were because that was a very hot day. But Scott from OCMS was down there. Mayor Cummings greeted the group. They had a little official kickoff event early in the morning. And it was a very busy day last August 15th.
And it's a great event. All the proceeds this year went to the Oshkosh Area School District as well as the Winneconne Area School District. So the mayor was actually able to present those checks before the tournament started, and then all the fun began for the rest of the day. Another thing that was actually going on just about the same time, it started a little bit earlier than the Gus Macker, was the Mayor's Breakfast. And this is an annual event, but as we have stated in past episodes of CMR this year, it kind of is a little bit different this year with the date.
Things switched off. We're no longer doing it with the AA, and it's really not we. It's not a city event. It's actually private citizens that have done this just to help promote the community. So Mayor Cummings was acknowledging all the folks who were involved in it. Virtually all the council members were there helping serve breakfast. It now is entirely a community event, so people came for breakfast, went to Gus Macker, went shopping at the farmer's market. It was very much a very community-oriented morning. I had a lot of fun talking to people. A lot of times I was out of town during EAA, so it was fun to just be part of the event. Dance groups from different community organizations, and we had somebody doing a little bit of singing there, and then Miss Wisconsin and Miss Oshkosh were there. They were having a big dance thing going on after this dance group here was done from Julie's. So fun. Just a very family-oriented, fun event. They nearly ran out of food, which is really what they wanted to do. Most people came early because it was so darn hot.
It was a warm day.
So I think they had a great time, and I think it laid the groundwork to continue this as a community event.
Yeah, and I think that's a great example, you saying that you're usually out of town during EAA, so I think the date change might actually enable more people from the Oshkosh community to make it, which overall was the goal. So we're glad it was a success, and we're already looking forward to the next one. Mark, next thing we want to talk about is something that is somewhat new to Oshkosh. It opened a few months ago as the Inclusive Playground over at South Park. And we actually got some recognition of this in a regional aspect. So maybe you can tell us about that.
Well, we're real excited. The League of Wisconsin Municipalities, of which the city is a member, recognized the efforts of the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation, the different community groups that enabled the inclusive playground to be built in South Park. And so they just wanted to show this as part of a feature they were doing on sustainability, because sustainability includes being very inclusive with different people of different abilities, and that's certainly what the inclusive playground was about. The other part, I think they wanted to show that there are a lot of inclusive playgrounds that are getting constructed. That's a very popular thing these days, but the community fundraising aspect of it, the partnership between the city and the community foundation and a volunteer community group and other just very like-minded people, that was what was unique about this project and how the community really rallied around it. And we're very proud to be featured on the cover of the magazine. They could have gone to a bunch of different places, but they chose Oshkosh, and we're real happy to show off our new playground, not only to our community, but every local government official in the state gets a copy of this magazine. So we were able to brag a little bit, and that's kind of fun.
It is fun, and we are very proud of this inclusive playground. I know we had them on an episode of Oshkosh Today on CATV2, and they're saying this is just the beginning here. They're looking forward to banding together more and even getting more inclusive playgrounds throughout the rest of the city. So very, very proud of all of that. Another thing that we're actually pretty proud of here is some new projects that are kind of coming to an end here. One street project in particular, which a lot of people have been anticipating, is New York Avenue. So tell us about the process that we went through and where we're at right now with that.
We have three big street projects going on this summer, and New York is one of them. You know, we've been doing phases of New York Avenue over the past 6-7 years. This part is just kind of east of Elmwood Drive, and it was probably the longest stretch of New York Avenue that we've done. I do have to warn people, even though it looks really good, it looks like the concrete's all there, concrete needs to do something called curing. So don't go out there just yet. The residents along New York Avenue who have been so patient, you know, this is a huge inconvenience. It's dusty, it's messy. When it rains, it's even worse. But the residents have been really cool about it, and so my hat's off to everybody. But this footage was just taken a few days ago. It's not completely done yet, so if you're curious about what it looks like, give it another week or two. Wait till all the construction horses are gone. But you can see that a lot of progress has been made. The concrete needs to cure. They need to do landscaping, finish some of the sidewalks. You can see they're still doing concrete work out there. It's mostly the final touch type of thing, but it's a very important project on the north side, and I'm so happy it's getting done. And then similarly, even though we don't have footage of this, Parkway Avenue, you can insert Parkway Avenue. It's a similar type of situation, making really good progress, but we haven't done some of the cross streets yet. We haven't done Mount Vernon over by the library. That'll be an inconvenience for the library patrons and that, but it'll be very important to get that one done as well. East Parkway was in really, really rough shape, so it was long overdue, and the sewers down there were dating back to the 1880s. So,
which I just can't believe that.
Yeah, after 125 years, I think it's time to replace the storm sewer.
Maybe it's time. Maybe
just now. But sanitary sewer down there was in really rough shape, so we're happy to get that all done. And then finally, it's a different type of project, but road construction in our Southwest Industrial Park. We've been holding on to that land for a number of years, and I kind of held off, you know, when the recession started right after I got here. I didn't think it was prudent to get started on the industrial park because I didn't think the demand would be there. Now we're seeing some movement that we need to get the park going, so we're moving forward with it. A lot of folks thought the Y was doing something. If the 20th Avenue Y on the back side of it, that's where you see the park. We back up to the Y there. So if you were back there for a football game or a soccer game, you may have thought that the Y was expanding or somebody was doing something new. It's just us. They're just moving and trying to promote industrial development in the city.
Wonderful. Well, all these updates are awesome. We're very happy. I know those road constructions on East Parkway, New York, were long anticipated, and it's always great to hear good news coming out of the industrial park too. Next thing we want to talk about is a new addition to the library, kind of a smaller addition, but they now have Chromebooks available for people who are looking to use computers at the library. So tell us a little bit about the Chromebooks.
Well, they look more like mini laptops, but
Right.
they're calling them Chromebooks. They work very, very well. You would not believe the number of people who either don't have computer access at their own home or don't have internet access. And so many employers these days are requiring people to submit their applications online. So this is a huge service that's necessary for the general public. And if you don't have that capability, it's really tough and puts you at a disadvantage. Or if you're somebody like me where you're fighting at home to get access onto the computer or something, maybe you want a little quieter place, and maybe the library is that place. Our terminals at the library, we still have them, but they get a little clogged and whatnot with the number of people demanding them. And sometimes people want to be a little more discreet, just want to kind of hide away in a very quiet corner. What the Chromebooks do is it enables you to check it out. You present an ID just like you do to check out a library book, and you can go to any part of the library, just quietly, discreetly, privately, do what you need to do, apply for a job, look for jobs, do whatever research you're interested in, and then when you're done, just return it just like you would a library book, and you take off. You can't take it out of the library, we don't want that, but it gives you that access that you would not otherwise have. So we think it's a great addition to the library. The library really isn't just about books anymore. It's about information, access to information, and the library wants to promote that, and this is a great addition to enable them to further their mission and serve the public.
Well, we're so happy about those 4 new additions, and so we're going to have to stop out to the library next time we're fighting for the internet at our house and get a little bit of quiet time out there. Next item we want to talk about is the American Transmission Company, or ATC. They're doing some tree trimming, or tree clearing, I should say, in the month of September. So this is something not a lot of people are aware of or know much about. So maybe you can give us a little bit of an overview of what's going to be happening.
Well, American Transmission Company, they do those commercials where they say they're not the electric company, but they transmit a lot of electrical or electricity. These are the big, high wires, the thick ones that run through swaths of the city, and in this case it's on the west side. It's pretty much running, if you go where the south side of the Walmart Supercenter is, goes from Highway 41 straight out west. And these lines are not being moved. What they're doing is they're doing routine maintenance, because over time the trees build up and they get close to interfering with the wires, and they need to trim the trees from a safety standpoint. So for those of you who live out in that area, in the West Haven area, if you live near Abbey Park, we got noticed as a city because we're the owners of Abbey Park, and they're going to be trimming trees in Abbey Park. ATC has a long-standing easement. If you look at your property, you're going to see ATC as an easement, or some other company that maybe not read ATC anymore, but they'll be coming through, they'll be notifying you that they're going to be trimming trees, but a lot of people may not be aware of it. They may think it's us. It's not, but we get a lot of calls when this type of thing happens. So we're just letting folks know, if you live in that area just west of Walmart, just west of Highway 41, you will likely be getting a notice in the mail in the next few weeks about this tree trimming operation going on. Right.
So you will be getting a notice. If you don't worry about it. If you drive by, you see that happening, that's what it is. If you want to learn more about ATC, you can go to their website at www.atcllc.com. And now it's time for that, my favorite part of the show is Question Mark, a chance where viewers have the ability to ask City Manager Mark Roloff anything they want about things that are happening right here in their city. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the question mark is this week. So the question this week is, what is the new store going up on South Washburn behind Pizza Ranch?
I hate to disappoint you, but the answer is no store.
No store at all.
I've been asked this question multiple times, not just through Question Mark. Sometimes I get these questions. I've gotten this a lot of times over the past week. This is another one of our stormwater detention ponds. It's not. I think everybody was thinking, is it KFC? Is it Kohl's? Sorry, it's neither. It's just another boring pond that we're putting up. But Washburn and 9th is really what we're talking about. It's behind where Pizza Ranch is, where Motel 6, where First Merit Bank is, that area there. We purchased this land last year and have been going through the process with the Department of Natural Resources to get approval. This is for the Campbell Creek area. This goes back into the West Haven area. Cumberland Trail is back there. The homes you see in the background there are on Cumberland Trail, apartments and whatnot. But we needed a place to get the water out of the West Haven area and hold it a little bit before it crosses 41 and gets into areas over by Tippler School. Even though we have a pond there, that's not enough. We need multiple ponds in these areas. Campbell Creek's the second largest watershed in the city, so it was really necessary to do this. So no formal store construction, but
no Kohl's for me.
No Kohl's for you, sorry, Emily. But it is a much needed project in Campbell Creek, and we're excited about it. I think we'll get most of it done this year and maybe some cleanup items next spring, but we're real excited. We got a $150,000 grant, I believe, from the DNR to help us facilitate this project, and it will help address stormwater issues that we know are a long-standing concern here in Oshkosh.
So it looks like you made a lot of progress, and I think I'd take that over my basement flooding any day. So
that's what we're hoping.
We're looking forward to continuous improvement there. So don't forget, if you'd like to send a question to Mark and have it answered on the next episode of City Manager's Report, you can email it to, questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us. We're going to take a little break on City Manager's Report. When we come back, we'll get into the City Council meeting agenda for this Tuesday, August 25th, 2015. We'll be right back.
If you have expired or unused medication, don't flush it, pour it down the drain, or toss it in the trash. Safely dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box located inside the Oshkosh Police Department. It's convenient and anonymous, safe and secure, and it's open to everyone 24/7. Drop off your prescriptions, over-the-counter drugs, pet meds, and more. Keep drugs out of the reach of children and out of our water supply. Dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box. For more information, visit the Oshkosh Police Department website at oshkoshpd.com.
Welcome back to your City Manager's Report. Now it's that time of the show where we're going to dive into the City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, August 25th, 2015. So Mark, first thing that we want to talk about is a little bit ways into the agenda, and it's something that we are not exactly excited to talk about, but it's approved purchase of some road salt for this winter from the Department of Public Works through the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
We have to plan for winter sometime, and we have a cooperative arrangement with the state to purchase our salt. You got to order it in the summer to have it ready for the winter.
And it hurts me to watch this video.
Oh, these are just awful. Fortunately, this is from many months ago, but we do need to purchase salt. We have to stock up and be ready for the winter, and just letting you know that we're planning for the winter even while you're enjoying your backyard barbecue.
So this is typically the time of year that this purchase takes place for the salt.
We absolutely have to do that. We want to get our sheds, we want to make sure our salt sheds filled by the time winter sets in, and this is when we order it. And then we also, this also includes an order that we'll get later on in the year. Depending on how bad the winter may be, we're planning ahead.
Awesome. Next item we want to talk about, we want to give it a little bit of a plug too, is approve an agreement with Split Rock Studios for People of the Waters. Now this is for the Oshkosh Public Museum.
It is. This is the main entrance into the museum. We have what are called static type of displays that don't get changed over, like you saw the Great Gatsby display. That's a moving display that happens. They rotate those in and out every couple, 3 months. But our static display, we did a lot of research, and People of the Waters is really getting into the history of this area, the Native Americans, the trappers, and how we came to be as a civilization in the city of Oshkosh, and with the history that precedes the settlement of the city. And Split Rock Studios has been working very closely with the museum board, and this is the first step in them getting that design ready before we get the construction going on.
And I'm really looking forward to this. We got a behind-the-scenes tour once when I was taking a council member around, and you would not believe how much of the Native American history that they have at the Oshkosh Public Museum that they're just waiting to display for this. So it's just going to be such a cool thing, and it's one of those, like you said, the static display. So you'll have a great chance to see all this kind of stuff.
And it's really focused on the youth, so that we get kids coming in with class tours, but then bringing their parents back to go see all the really cool things that we have, taking advantage of all the artifacts we have dating back literally centuries.
So we're looking forward to that. Another thing we're looking forward to is item number 15, resolution 15-389. It's an approval of a special event for the Oshkosh Senior Center, and that's for the Fall Family Fun Fest and Granny Smith 5K on September 13th, 2015. They're going to be using the Wyowash and the Riverwalk Trail, correct?
They're going to be using the Riverwalk Trail, all the trails in and around the Senior Center. This meeting has a lot of fall type of special events, but this is one that we put on for the benefit of the Senior Center. We're very excited about it. So September 13th, make sure you're there for the Granny Smith. You can run or walk, so it doesn't matter. No excuses. Go there, have fun.
And bring your grandparents. It's Grandparents' Day.
It is Grandparents' Day, and that's why we have it that day. So it's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it before with my family.
Yes, and you get a caramel apple at the end of the 5K, so it's all the more reason to join.
That's enough said to me.
Another thing we want to mention, too, as far as special events go, Resolution 15-393 is for the Parks Department to utilize Menominee Park for the celebration of lights. So we're not quite done talking about winter for this episode, but here we go.
We've got more special events, and so the Celebration of Lights group, I mean, there they are. They're planning for their winter display in August, so we really appreciate the work that they do. It's an entirely volunteer group that does this, and so yes, we hate to keep bringing it up, but it's part of our character, it's part of our heritage. Winter is around the corner, sadly, but so enjoy your summer while you can.
And this is something that we really look forward to every winter. And like you said, we got to give them credit. They're already planning in August, so it just goes to show how much work goes into having this here in Oshkosh. Mark, next item we want to talk about is item number 28, Resolution 15-402. That's a direct correction of assessment role for tax exemption for Time Warner Cable and Charter Communications. Kind of a mouthful, but maybe you can explain to us what exactly this tax exemption is and who it applies to.
Well, apparently there was a provision that was added into the statutes a couple years ago that has largely gone unnoticed. Quite honestly, I'm not the most thrilled about it, because what it does is it's further eroding our tax base and shifting the tax burden from businesses, in this case Time Warner Cable, over to residential property owners. So Time Warner Cable, this is the fiber optic cable, the cable that they own, as well as the converter boxes that they rent to you that you pay a monthly fee for. They're no longer going to be taxed for those items as personal property. Businesses do pay a personal property tax, and that's payable to the city. That's part of our tax base. This is a $4 million reduction in their assessed value, and that equates to about $100,000. They're going to get their value for their equipment is going to go from about $4 million to $10,000. So their tax bill is going from $100,000 to about $250.
Wow.
It's really just a shame that the shift is going over to residential property taxpayers, and so we have to do this. We are required by law to do this, but I know council members are aware of this. and they're not happy about it. And even though they have to do it, they're not going to go down quietly. They're going to let the public know. I certainly want to let the public know that this is something that they need to talk to their state legislators about, because this will backdoor hit you as a property tax owner. These breaks we're getting more and more of our property tax base eroded because of these little breaks, and there's dozens of these going through every budget. This is one from 6 years ago. I don't know why it took so long for them to start realizing that it was available, but we've just become aware of it because they're taking advantage of it. And I just don't think it's fair that the tax burden is getting shifted to residents. I'm a resident. I'm not happy as a resident.
We're not seeing our cable bills going down.
And we're not seeing our cable bills go down. I don't mean to bash cable companies. They got a right to do their business, but I just think it's unfair, and I think council is going to probably spend a good part of the meeting talking about that issue, even though they pretty much have to approve it.
I mean, it's a big issue. That's a pretty huge chunk of change that you just said there. So I know you wanted to make sure that our viewers were aware if this is something you definitely want to call your legislator about and make the public known about it.
Absolutely. I think, property taxpayers have a right to let their legislators know this is a tax break that's been given. They need to let them know their opinion. Maybe you disagree with me, that's okay, but let your legislator know, because these laws are getting written and they're impacting you here at home.
Next item we want to talk about, Mark, is Resolution 15-404. This is dealing with the Central City Investment Strategy. So maybe you can just tell us exactly first what that is.
Well, the Central City Investment Strategy is really replacing what was the Downtown Action Plan that was done back in 2000. And one of the things we recognize is if we're talking about downtown, we really need to say Central City. It's both north and south of the river, and it's not just Main Street, it's east and west. Now, we're crossing the river onto North Main Street, but the whole recognition is that the Central City is much larger than just one street and what side of the river. Right. It's really going all the way down South Park, all the way up to Irving, and east and west from the tracks all the way over to the university. That's our Central City, and what do we want it to look like? What do we want to invest in the future? What do we anticipate businesses investing in the future? Those are all the things that we want to do, and eventually just develop a plan for what improvements we may need to do as the city. What improvements does the public want to see that maybe will be privately funded? But you develop a plan and then an action plan to implement it, but the whole idea is to get input from the public and move forward with this.
So early phases, we're going to stay tuned for more updates on that in the future. Under future agenda items, we'll just quickly say that there is a 2016 budget workshop on August 26th at 5 p.m. in room 404. And then we would definitely want to squeeze our last item in here is discuss Murdoch Avenue Road Diet. And the big thing was the bike lanes, so no bike lanes.
The bike lanes were not included in this, but we've gotten a lot of questions because there are bicycles using Murdoch. Well, the idea was that we don't have a designated bike lane, but we did decide that we were going to stripe it to make 3 lanes. Some people think that, well, then there's no bike lanes, bikes shouldn't be there. Bikes have always been allowed on Murdoch. Part of the issue is that this was a traffic safety issue. We resolved the traffic safety issue by doing the 3 lanes, 2 lanes in each direction, 1 lane down the middle for turning purposes. And so far, the results I've seen, I think, are very good. But people have noticed bicycles, because there's a white line on the right side, and it's like, well, that's where the bike lane is. Well, it's not a designated bike lane. And the designated bike lane is really to be part of a system of developing that. We haven't designated a bike lane, but that doesn't mean you can't ride your bike there.
It by no means prohibits you from riding your bike.
No, but when it was 4 lanes, you were allowed to ride your bike too. It just wasn't very safe. So people may see it being more safe to ride bikes, but it is not a designated bike route, and the Bike and Pedestrian Committee is still looking at that. So they may decide to come back and ask the council to formally put bike lanes in, or they may say, well, let's designate something else. But that will never prevent people from being able to ride their bikes.
Wonderful. That is going to do it for this episode of City Manager's Report. We always have so much to talk about. Thank you, Mark, for joining us today.
Happy to.
Again, City Council meeting is this Tuesday, August 25th. Thanks, as always, for joining us on your City Manager's Report, and we'll see you next time.